Hey everybody, Tom Jorgensen here. Stranger Things 2 is packed with enough Easter eggs and references to make your head spin, so we're gonna take you through a few of our favorites. Spoilers for the entire season ahead. The way the camera cuts around to the bored kids in Mr. Clark's classroom is a pretty close recreation of a scene from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Will tells Dr. Owens that his favorite candy is Reese's Pieces, also the favorite candy of E.T. The movie playing at the town theater is The Terminator, which topped the box office the weekend it came out in October of 1984. The shot of Will's front door opening into the Upside Down is an homage to a memorable shot from Close Encounters of the Third Kind. When we first meet Sean Astin's character Bob, he tells Joyce he's not a big fan of orange. Sean Astin was in a commercial for a French company called Orange, in which his pitch for a romantic comedy was rejected by film executives who would rather make Lord of the Rings 4. Halloween in Hawkins means more costumes than you can shake a nail-spiked bat at. Here's everyone we spotted. The boys dress up as the Ghostbusters, with two Venkmans because no one wants to be Winston. Max dresses up as Michael Myers. She even jumps out from a hedge like the one Laurie Strode first sees Myers standing behind in Halloween. Eleven wants to go trick-or-treating in secret as a ghost, just like E.T. does in E.T. Steve and Nancy go as Tom Cruise and Rebecca De Mornay's characters from Risky Business. Bob is a very Grandpa Munster-inspired Dracula. We also get glimpses at Pac-Man, Alex from Flashdance, at least two Madonnas, Michael Jackson from the Billie Jean video, Rocky, Johnny from Karate Kid, Jason Voorhees, Magnum P.I., Wonder Woman, Susie Sue, Bluto from Animal House, Raggedy Ann and Andy making out, which is disgusting considering they're brother and sister. And this one may be wishful thinking, but the one dude doing the robot oblivious to everyone else reminds us of one of the very best running gags from Chappelle's Show. On Dustin's bedroom wall, you can see a Ghostbusters certificate of anti-paranormal activity, which you could get by joining the movie's fan club. It allows Dustin to exterminate paranormal entities, save the world on short notice, and of course, charge premium rates for his services. How else is he gonna afford to beat the high score in Dragon's Lair at the arcade? The 3 rules that Hopper gives Eleven for living with him remind us of the 3 rules of owning a Mogwai in Gremlins. Eleven is especially told not to go outside in daylight, just like a Mogwai shouldn't be exposed to light. And she's not the only one. Dart is also sensitive to light. When he jumps off the table and escapes, the music cue sounds very similar to Jerry Goldsmith's score from Gremlins. Dustin and Dart's season-long bonding over their mutual love of candy bars evokes how Chunk gained Sloth's trust by giving him a Baby Ruth in The Goonies. This low-angle shot from inside Hopper's cellar calls to mind an old standby of the Evil Dead franchise. Chapter 5 is called Dig Dug, a fitting title considering the game is about descending into underground tunnels and killing monsters, something the folks in Hawkins are well versed in by the end of the season. As Hopper, Joyce, and Bob escape the tunnels, Hopper doubles back to grab his hat in a manner very reminiscent of Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom. As Mike explains to Bob that they need to find the X on Will's map, Bob responds, "What's at the X, pirate treasure?" This is a playful nod to Sean Astin's history as a treasure-hunting Goonie. The scene where soldiers descend into the tunnels below Hawkins only to be ambushed by demodogs is straight out of Aliens. Body cams, radar blips, the soldiers being hilariously outnumbered, Paul Reiser overseeing the operation and doing nothing of value, the parallels are clear. Joyce's dressing down of the Hawkins lab scientists for not being able to diagnose what's wrong with Will bears a close resemblance to a scene in The Exorcist, where Ellen Burstyn's character gets angry at doctors for not being able to help her demonically possessed daughter. As Mike rushes to warn Dr. Owens that his soldiers are walking into an ambush, he screams, "It's a trap!" And while that phrase is more popularly attributed to Admiral Akbar in Return of the Jedi, the way the guards are holding Mike back makes this look like it's probably referencing when Leia tried to warn Luke about Vader's trap in The Empire Strikes Back. A few of the pieces of graffiti in Collie's hideout reference Grant Morrison's comic The Invisibles, which follows a group of people battling physical and psychic persecution. Collie and her friends are out for revenge against those that treated her and Eleven the same way. Chapter 7, The Lost Sister, includes a number of references to Star Wars. Eleven basically force chokes Rey across his apartment floor. The bulk of the episode actually evokes the Dagobah training sequence from Empire Strikes Back. Collie telling Eleven to move the train car despite her doubts? That's just like when Yoda told Luke to lift his X-Wing from the swamp. Collie warns Eleven that she'll have to confront Dr. Brenner, just as Yoda warns Luke he'll have to confront Vader in Return of the Jedi. Eleven's vision of Brenner should also be familiar to anyone with a great love of the scene where Luke enters the Darkside Cave and sees Darth Vader. And just as Luke does in Empire, Eleven abandons her training once she has a vision of her friends in danger. Bob has to separate from the rest of the group to turn the power back on so that everyone can escape from the Hawkins lab. This scenario is lifted right out of Jurassic Park, where Samuel L. Jackson also has to go solo to get the power back on. Unlike Ray Arnold, Bob is successful in his efforts, but both men pay for the attempts with their lives. Sure, it's a reference to itself, but Stranger Things is enough of a pop culture touchstone at this point that we don't mind directing your eye to the bundle of Joyce's string lights that Steve finds in the junk pile. Seeing the kids in the tunnels under Hawkins, complete with older sibling figure reluctantly in tow, makes us feel some pretty intense Goonies nostalgia. In Billy's room, you can see the album art for Motley Crue's Shout at the Devil and Metallica's Kill 'Em All, but considering how much trouble those subterranean demodogs caused this season, our favorite cover art in Billy's room is Tank's Filth Hounds of Hades. During Will's exorcism, and yes, for simplicity's sake, we're just gonna call it an exorcism, Nancy forces the Mind Flayer out of Will by sticking him with a hot poker. Short Round does something similar to Indy during Temple of Doom to snap him out of his trance. Finally, we need to talk about the last song to play in Stranger Things 2, The Police's Every Breath You Take. As the camera pulls away from Hawkins Middle School and rotates itself into the Upside Down, the last lyrics we hear are "Oh, can't you see, you belong to me." Ominous words, considering the Mind Flayer is alive and well and still just as intent on conquering our world. What was your favorite Easter egg? Let us know in the comments, and if we didn't include it here, check out our Easter egg breakdowns for each individual episode of Stranger Things 2. Also be sure to check out our review for the season, and as always, be sure to follow and subscribe wherever you like to watch IGN.